Hello, Scorpio. Welcome back to Mind, Body, and Heart Tarot Therapy. I'm here to do reading for what's left of March 2020, and it's a reading for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising signs. If it resonates, and if it doesn't, then it's just not your reading. All right, my dear Scorpio, let's see what's going on for you. All right, 10 of Cups. Wow, that's a good start. This is your current energy, apparently. Glad you're feeling happy. Your challenge is the 8 of Cups. All right. The Empress is your focus. Damn right. The Queen of Pentacles is your advice. These two are very strongly linked together in terms of archetypes. And this is your future energy, 5 of Wands. Bottom of the deck, you have the 8 of Pentacles as your underlying energies, the energy of the month, kind of what you're working with, the theme of your month. I'm going to pull out the clarifiers. So you have Strength with the 10 of Cups as your current energy. You have 2 of Swords with the 8 of Cups as your challenge. You have Justice with the Empress as your focus. Page of Pentacles with the Queen of Pentacles as your advice. Six of Cups with the 5 of Wands as your future energy, and bottom of the deck you have the 9 of Wands with the 8 of Pentacles as the theme of your reading. 8 of Pentacles talks about hard work and about mastering your craft, really. It's not just hard work that's draining you, not at all. This is the type of hard work that you enjoy doing. That you enjoy doing so much that sometimes you get to maybe you don't even realize how the time passes. And the 9 of Wands talks about the wounded warrior and complications maybe in your spiritual life somehow. Okay. So I guess that this month you're really working with your wounds, really working with what the core wound is for you, in your spiritual journey, in your journey as a soul, evolution of consciousness. This wound you've been carrying not just this one lifetime, you've been probably carrying for many lifetimes. And as a karmic, this is at the core of your reading here with your focus. As part of your karmic journey where you are learning the things that you want to be learning and healing the things you want to be healing. I think that this is the focus of your month. Really taking time and building up the routine and practices that really help you address the core wounds that you're carrying. And when I'm saying that, talk about these core wounds, we all have our own core wounds. Maybe different from case to case, but if we zoom out enough, they're always around pretty much the same things. How we feel, we don't know how to meet our own needs, and sometimes we develop behaviors that are very let's just say unhealthy in order to compensate for those unmet needs. But those unmet needs can be somewhat varying, but again, they're around certain basic fears: fear of abandonment, fear of rejection, fear that we are not enough, feeling somehow um, that we just don't belong. It's a lack of belonging and being seen and recognized, being afraid to show all of ourselves because we fear we may yeah, that's the same, like, fear of rejection. And yeah, fear of just being inadequate. And we may feel all those things to a certain degree, and that's what we're here to heal, because we can heal this through love, by bringing love and attention, a caring attention to that side of myself. Learn to cater for my needs. And Scorpio, as an archetype, you're very most of us, people that carry strong Scorpio energy, and it doesn't only need to be your sun, moon, or rising. Those that can be quite defining, though. But it can be, I don't know, South Node, North Node, Pluto and Scorpio generation is a very specific type of generation, and it's more recent actually. Anyone around my age, between, I don't remember exactly the range. I think Pluto stays in a sign for many years, something like 8, 9 years. I don't remember. Sorry, I don't want to talk bullshit here. Anyhow, my point is that everybody that's got like strong Scorpio energy in their chart, and depends where in their chart even more, the core wound tends to be around abandonment and betrayal. So you might have attracted this type of experiences in order to heal that particular wound that's been there for many, many generations in your family, and probably for many of your own reincarnations. But I think you're finally taking that for a fact, and you're not just taking this as something to feel sorry about yourself. Of course, it is painful, and of course, we can learn to work with this. That's the point. And obviously, like I mentioned earlier, the way to work with this is through love and through compassion and through forgiveness. Even though we may have been hurt in what we consider to be unforgivable ways, forgiveness is not about letting the person who hurt us off the hook. It's by not allowing that particular incident and betrayal act or abusive act or abandonment to constantly hurt me, not allowing that energy to hurt me anymore. That's what forgiveness really is. So what we're letting our off the hook is ourselves, really, and um, facilitating the process of not being a prisoner of our trauma or of our wounds. It's catering to the needs, and it's self-care, and it's self-love, and that's not as easy as it sounds. It takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of embodiment of that. It's not just thinking, oh yeah, I love myself, and then go end up doing a lot of self-destructive stuff, or belittling myself 5 minutes later for, I don't know, forgot something important, or for not being the person I want to be, or not looking the way I want to look, or not having the qualities I admire in other people but I seem to lack in myself. And if I keep going ranting and belittling myself, that's not self-love. So part of the work is to recognize it, see it, staying present with it, and coming always back into that space of presence and loving compassion. I pretty much encompassed the whole reading here with what I just said, but let's go through it step by step. So current energy is strength and the 10 of cups. So maybe the reason you are able to actually work with these core wounds is because you find yourself in this space of joy, in this space of balance, and where you are able to stay present with your untamed parts. Maybe you're learning to tame the inner beast, the part of you that's very instinctual, and we have very strong survival instincts, and out of them all, I think Scorpio, yours are some of the strongest, and also you have a lot of power, and you crave power a lot. So it may show up in very different ways. It doesn't need to be so obvious as yeah, I want to have power over you and I'm going to put you through certain easy to recognize steps. That need for power can masquerade as many different things. The point with strength is that this lady, see, she comes here with a lot of compassion and she's not afraid of this very strong and powerful lion, which symbolizes your, as I said, untamed impulses and instincts. And I don't know, it can mean sexuality, it can mean that need for power, it can mean a lot of things that we crave to do, but we can't do because they're not socially acceptable. And that can cover a big range. But she learns to approach the lion with love and compassion. If she approaches this lion from fear or from competition, from wanting to beat the lion or to have power of the lion, she will get eaten in second too, unless she comes with a gun and push that kind of stupid things. The point here is that they are managing to create this balanced and loving relationship. Yeah. Obviously, Ten of Cups is happiness, joy, balance. See, this shows like a happy family on a beautiful property with a house and a river and the children playing. The male and female, see, balancing each other up with this gesture of a container. Really, they're containing their happiness here. But don't get fooled by the imagery. This is not what's necessarily about. Of course, happiness can mean this, but that's usually an utopia. That I don't know how many truly happy families are out there. There are some, but there's always like a lot of drama and things like this. Strength also hints at family, so bear with me here. There's a wound in your family that you are able to contain now and to bring, to tame that wild side of yourself that's trying to deflect from the wound so it doesn't hurt and be present with it and show, be the family, the part of your family that maybe you never had. Be the mother that, I don't know, the part of your mother that could not fulfill you. Maybe you needed to be loved in certain ways and she wasn't able to, or maybe she wasn't even present in your life, or maybe she was an abusive mother or narcissistic mother. It doesn't matter. Of course it matters. It's not in that sense. I mean, like, that's not it's not about one particular case. But I believe that you have the strength to contain your wound, contain your pain, and bringing it to balance, bringing it to love. Allow yourself to be joyful by holding space for each an aspect of yourself and bring them. But this is current energy. You may be in the process of this, or you're already there. And you understand then real happiness is not the absence of pain. It's more about being able to be present with everything as it is and learning to relate to our pain, to our wounds, to our suffering through compassion, not through judging, blaming, all that. So you find yourself in a great space where you're really balanced, have the strength, and this is pretty much why you are you have the groundedness and the awareness to work with your wounds, because if you're coming from the space of the wound only, then you can't work with yourself. We tend to dissociate, we tend to like we can't really be present with it, but you are present with it. That's great. Challenging. The Eight of Cups with the Two of Swords. It's challenging for you to leave something behind, and it's hard for you to see it. It feels like it's a blind spot. You carry this in your emotional body, but you turn your back on it. You don't want to face it really, because it's painful. Yes, of course, it's a core wound. Those are the most painful parts that we hold in ourselves. And I think that part of your healing process would be to leave something behind, but that can be quite physical. Maybe leaving a certain relationship behind, or attachment to a parent that will never really give you the love and what's that, the validation that they haven't given to you in childhood. Sometimes, we do have, some of us have some very harsh experiences of coming into this incarnation into a family that just won't support us and love us and see us for what we are. And because those parents generally are self-obsessed and um, victims of their own traumas, and they don't have the strength at the time, they just don't have the supportive energy to cope with it. So therefore they engage in self-soothing through toxic behaviors, and they aren't able to be present for our own needs as children. And obviously that's very detrimental and just carries on the trauma. This whole thing with mother keeps coming in. I see the Empress, I see the Queen of Pentacles, and the Strength, I told you, is closely related with family. And this depiction of the happy family that's in your current position seem to really hint at making peace with the fact that your family is as it is, or was as it was. And no matter where you find yourself in your relationship with them, maybe you've forgiven certain ways that they hurt you, maybe you haven't. Maybe there's nothing to forgive, and you know that. Maybe wherever you find yourself, there is something that you need to leave behind. You see, this person is living voluntarily. Okay, there are 8 cups here, and then what's there is there. He had enough, or she had enough of this. And he or she is going there with the moon as a guide, and the moon is here too. It is very much about emotions here. Going into some other places to look for the missing cup, which leads to the wish fulfillment, the 9 of Cups. I think that what you are not willing to look at is where the gold is. So when I'm saying leaving something behind, as I said, it can be physical, like leaving an actual relationship or relationship dynamics and just switching to a different mode of reacting or interacting, or just not engaging. But it can also mean how I am relating to my certain experiences. In this case, how am I relating with my emotions? How am I relating with my trauma? How am I relating to my core wounds? How am I relating to my wild side? How am I relating to my concept of mother? And mothering. So what you're leaving behind, what you may be leaving behind, is a certain type of expectations you have from yourself or from your family or from your partner or from life itself, and a thorough investigation of, awareness of what you've been carrying in these cups. And maybe it's a decision of simply releasing it and go and look for what is it that's missing. And usually that has to do with how we are able, as I said earlier, to mother ourselves and to cater for our own needs. I think you're learning that. It is challenging, of course. This is your challenge position. It's not easy. And as I said, where you're not willing to look, which is all these emotions you've been carrying, is where the gold is. And looking into your emotions, it may be slightly different than what you expect. The Empress and the Justice card talk about as your focus. You see, the Empress is the archetypal mother, the nurturer, the caretaker, the most loving and nicest person you've ever met, that is able to hold you, to take care of you, to nurture you, to validate you, to love you unconditionally. And we all wish to have a parent like that. And maybe we do, some of us we don't. This is an archetype though. It's real to a certain degree. Each and every human being have their own core wounds and their own trauma, and they can love us in all the ways possible, the way we wish, the way we want. Yes, of course, there are healthier family dynamics and dysfunctional families, and the range between those can be so much in between. But even in the most perfect environment, there's not going to be the perfect mother or perfect father for that matter, perfect sibling. So we need to understand this, and we need to take responsibility in a sense for this, like own this understanding that, okay, we are not perfect. That means that in whatever ways my mother failed me, or in whatever ways I failed as a offspring, it is part of the human condition, and it is part of the human experience, and it is what I'm here to bring love and compassion to. Because this is how we heal those deep wounds. This is how we heal whatever was missing. And the best way to heal this is to embody the, as I said, the mother myself, and give what I needed when I didn't get it back then to my inner child, so I can facilitate this healing. And with justice, again, this is at the core of your reading. Justice talks about karmic justice. This is part of your soul journey, and it's a key moment in your the evolution of consciousness, I believe. So it's something to be celebrated, because you're finding love. See this love here. Venus is coming into Taurus, or is already in Taurus. My God, I really should check those charts. But yeah, we're around there. It's a very, I think we already have Venus in Taurus. We can connect to ourselves from this place of love and compassion more, and from this place of indulging in our senses and enjoying life and connecting to earth, and allow our creativity to flow, and embodying this energy, focusing on this energy consciously. We can bring justice and healing to those parts of us that haven't had justice and healing. Many of us carry birth trauma. I don't know, just being born through a C-section, for example. Being born is already traumatic. It is a traumatic experience. and we can all learn to heal that trauma. But we can have serious birth trauma. C-section is just not natural birth. There's a we need to go through the natural birth process to get out of the womb, to be pushed out. It's a natural type of coming into the world. When we don't do that, we are being deprived of a certain transition, and we keep that into our what's it called? Yeah, well, into our DNA, into our energy, into our archetypal story. If you have even more than that, like being born prematurely or having had all kinds of after birth or birth experiences, being kept in an incubator, that's a separation from the mother, for example. It's an artificial environment, all this stuff. Just look back at your birth history and learn to be the one that rescues you. There are certain practices that go back to your birth moment, and it's like working through hypnosis or with rebirthing. There's a breath work, or with like a facilitator that can help you. Family constellations, I don't know if they go necessarily at the birth moment, but there are certain therapies that do that and help making peace with that moment and rescuing the baby born, healing that trauma. Inner child work may be very, very useful as well right now, maybe not necessarily to the birth trauma. Not everybody that's going to be the recipient of this reading is having birth trauma, so it's not all about that. But those of you that have, keep in mind that there are practices out there, and you can do this if you want to address it. The main message is that you can bring justice to yourself by embodying the energy that you most need, and relating to your wound as if because you have survived it. You are a mature person that is taking decision and is making choices and is going through life and owning so much, owning yourself. You're an empowered human being. You can go back to the part of you that haven't received love in the way you needed, and just give it to yourself. I think I'm repeating myself massively here. I'm going to stop there with that. But hard to stop there, because the advice is this as well. Queen of Pentacles and the Page of Pentacles. I feel like the Page of Pentacles is it's a child up until 12 or something like this. And the Queen of Pentacles is the, again, archetypal mother of the Pentacles suit. A very practical and nurturing person that very connected with earth. She knows how to keep a clean and nourishing environment for her family and children, and for her community, for all her suit for that matter. The loving mother, again, the archetype of the loving mother. That's why I said that these two are very connected. And you see with this Page of Pentacles, it's like this transformation. It's the children that are growing. This is inner child work. This is your advice. Go in there and nurture your child. And your inner child seems to be willing to show up, seems to be willing to take this nourishment. It's very fertile environment for you, because that's where the wound is. And this is going to take you in the position where you can stand up for yourself, where you need to stand up for yourself, where you can be more playful, where you go out there and instead of like playing power games, more like having friendly competitions and challenge yourself in a way that is healthy, rather than just going out there to just feel powerful over somebody else, because you felt powerless at some point in your life when you felt wounded and I don't know, helpless. And you can look back in your past with more like melancholy, and you can relate to the part of you, that inner child, from a place of kindness and loving awareness. Yeah, that's how it looks like. The cups talks about going back to innocence as well. Yeah, it's going back to that. When we cater to the needs of our inner child, and when we are giving ourselves the encouragement that we need, the nourishing that we need, when we're seeing ourselves as we want others to see us, when we are looking for validation outside of ourselves, and we hope that certain people see aspects of ourselves that need to be encouraged to come up more. When we really give ourselves that, and we give that inner validation, and love and care and nurturing and compassion, then our inner child can come out and play. He can feel encouraged to just come out and experience the world, to grow up. Finally, we are learning to facilitate that maturing aspect in our emotional self that wasn't able to happen because of the severing of the wound. And this is, as I said, this is not just from this lifetime, I believe. It's from a few more before this justice here. So beautiful journey, my dear Scorpio. I think this is going to go quite smooth. It is challenging because there's the blind spots, and there's the leaving behind a certain way of a certain way of relating to your emotions, especially. But I think you've definitely got this. So it's really, really great work, and I think it's not going to hurt as much this time, because you're embodying this Empress and the Queen of Pentacles. You can do it with gentleness. It doesn't need to be that type of healing that's just fucking painful. You don't need to go through the dark night of the soul for that this time. Dark night of the soul plays its role in our evolution of consciousness, in our healing process, but I don't think that's the case. Blood angel. Okay, maybe I should take that back. Let's see. This is number 7. Okay, so the poem that comes with this beautiful card from Rumi says, "In the midst of the darkness, a moon appeared with its brilliance." This moon. "Stepping down from the clouds, it glanced at me like a falcon that hunts a bird and steals it away. It captured me and flew back to infinite space. As I looked for myself, I could not find me, for my body had become all soul in the tenderness of love. The 9 spheres of heaven dissolved in that moon, as the ship of my existence drowned in the sea of love." Rumi. Oh my God, that's just wow. I'm really feeling this poem in my heart right now. It's so beautiful. Okay, let's read a little bit. That's a long read. Okay, let's cut it short a little bit. Okay, the Oracle of Blood Angel comes to you with a particular message. You are being given the gift of more life. You may experience this as growth, expansion, more energy, more life force, or divine electricity circulating through your system. The Blood Angel understands that in the gift of greater life, which enables the soul to live more of its essence, becoming a more palpable divine presence upon this earth, there are many unavoidable experiences. One of these is that there will be more sunsets to counter the increase of your sunrises. This is about balance. When opening up to receive more, one needs to empty out what has been to allow for a new influx of energy. It is not about an exchange of equal measure, for you will receive according to the great generosity of life itself, and thus even more shall be offered in compensation for what you are willing to release. However, release must take place. Balance is the natural law. The sunset makes way for a time of night that might be the darkness of grief. Shit. Yeah, I don't think that this night is this dark. And if it feels like this, do connect to this energy of the Empress and the Queen of Pentacles, which are right there for you. I don't want to minimize your experience. I'm sorry. If you really feel like it's a dark night of the soul, then it is a dark night of the soul for you. And as I said, it plays its role. And you are here to listen to this message so that you can soothe yourself through that. So the sunset makes way for a time of night that might be the darkness of grief or the steering of unknown places that only reveal themselves in clarity the following morning. Being ready to endure the sunset and the night to become ready to receive the sunshine and with it more life is your divine task now. This oracle comes with particular blessing of well-being and vitality. You have perhaps become tired or are well but seek to engage in new projects or practices that will stretch or challenge you. This. The blood angel brings you the blessing of whatever energy is required to expand into where life is leading you. What the divine has instilled within your heart shall be financed with life force and energy so it may be brought to fulfillment. This is the sacred contract of human life. The journey shall be taken by the soul and there will be challenges, and yet what is required for divine fulfillment will always be available. They are available right here, and you've got the strength and the balance to do that. If you have been struggling with your energy level or with your emotional or psychological challenges more than usual perhaps, then you are asked to complete the sacred honoring ritual for the Cloak of Christ oracle after you have completed the ritual for the blood angel. Here we go again. I don't usually read the rituals. I might this time though. The reason for this is that your energy as you're going through growth and opening can become unstable for a time, more porous or vulnerable than usual. This is nothing to be concerned about, but you will benefit from more spiritual protection during this time. If you have your own rituals or techniques for spiritual protection, now's the time to use them, my love. If you need to take any particular action to bring yourself healing and wellness, this ritual will help you become conscious of and ready for that action simply through life experiences and internal wisdom when the time is right. Okay, so the honoring ritual for the blood angel cards says, you can say out loud, blood angel of unconditional love and divine love, bless me with the life force I need to attain my divine destiny. I open to your grace with the perfect trust and perfect love, so be it. Close your eyes and notice your breath. Imagine or intend that you can sense the blood moving in your veins. So much life abounds in your body, soul. In your own time, just open your eyes and you have completed your honoring ritual. Okay, with reluctance, I'm reading also the one from the Cloak of Christ. Again, do these rituals only if you feel called to. A lot of people have a resistance to rituals, honor that too if that's the case. So this honoring ritual about the Cloak of Christ, the one that has to do more with protection, it says, open your arms wide above your head and tip your gaze gently up towards the heavens. If you are inside, imagine or intend that you can gaze beyond the physical structure of the ceiling right into the sky that lies above. Lower your arms to prayer position at your heart and say aloud, if possible, through me and Jesus Christ, who loved me without condition, offer me the cloak of the Christ, the mantle of divine protection now, that I may receive the karmic grace and healing I need through the power and mercy of your presence. Thank you. Sit quietly and imagine you are surrounded by a dark, comforting cloak. You can easily breathe through it. You can easily see light within of it or filtering through it if needs be. Or you may feel comfortable in the darkness. Let it be whatever is most relaxing and soothing for you. You may even imagine it to be the night sky dappled with stars wrapping around you. Close your eyes and relax now for as long as it feels good. That may be for a minute, for 15 or 20 minutes or longer. Just be with what feels appropriate and best for you at this time. When you feel you are ready to rise from your rest, simply place your hands at your heart and say thank you. You may notice strong energetic sensations or emotions during this process or in the following day. You may notice repetitive thought patterns that you need to confront and challenge with more loving thoughts. You may have significant dreams in the evening following also. It may be very subtle for you, so much so that you wonder if anything has happened and if it has worked. It has. The effect will be demonstrated at the right time. Trust. All right, my darling, I hope this makes sense to you, and I hope this had been helpful. If it was, and if you can connect to this reading, and if you benefit from it, please like, share, and subscribe, so can my channel can grow and reach more people in need for these messages. And yeah, have a wonderful month and a smooth process here. Connect to a place of loving awareness and love and light, and I'm sure that you can be present with the wound and with everything that you need to be taken care of. All right, my darlings, may our practice benefit all beings. Much love.